If you drink coffee every morning, try something tomorrow. Before you brew, drop one whole clove into your cup, just one. It costs less than a dime, and you probably already have it in your kitchen. Because what that single clove does to your body when it combines with your coffee is something we want to walk you through today. And it starts working faster than you would think. Before we get into the list, drop a comment and tell us what topic you would like us to cover next. This community is built around people who genuinely care about their health, and we love hearing from you. Within 15 minutes, energy without the jitters. Before we get into what you feel, here is something worth understanding first. Coffee on its own is already one of the richest sources of antioxidants in the average senior's diet. It contains compounds that protect your liver, support your blood vessels, and fight inflammation. But clove contains a compound called eugenol that does not just add to those benefits, it multiplies them. Researchers call this food synergy. The two work together in a way that is significantly more powerful than either one alone. That is why the effects start as quickly as they do. Most seniors who drink coffee know the feeling. You get the energy, but sometimes it comes with a tightness in the chest, a slight anxiousness, or a racing feeling that is not entirely comfortable. That is caffeine narrowing your blood vessels slightly while stimulating your nervous system at the same time. Clove changes that. The eugenol in clove gently relaxes the smooth muscle in the walls of your blood vessels. So while the caffeine is giving you the energy lift, the clove is simultaneously taking the edge off by allowing your blood vessels to stay relaxed and open. The result is a cleaner, calmer kind of energy. Alert without anxious, focused without the jittery feeling that some seniors find uncomfortable or even distressing. This matters more after 60 because your cardiovascular system is already managing the natural changes that come with age. Blood vessels naturally become less flexible over time. Anything that promotes relaxation and healthy blood flow rather than constriction is genuinely beneficial for an aging cardiovascular system. The combination of caffeine for alertness and eugenol for vessel relaxation gives you the best of both without the downsides of either on its own. If you have ever felt like coffee makes you a little too wired or gives you that uncomfortable chest tightness, this is likely why adding clove changes the experience. You are not removing the caffeine benefit. You are just smoothing out the rough edges that come with it. And for seniors who have reduced their coffee intake because of how it makes them feel, this combination often lets them enjoy it again without the side effects that made them cut back in the first place. To get this effect properly, use one whole clove and crush it slightly with the flat side of a knife before dropping it into your coffee. Crushing it opens up the surface area and allows the beneficial compounds to release into the hot liquid. A whole uncrushed clove sitting in your cup releases very little. The crushing step is what makes it work. Drop it into your grounds before brewing or directly into your cup before adding hot water and let it steep for at least 3 minutes. Within 24 hours, bloating reduces and digestion improves. If you deal with bloating after meals or a heavy, uncomfortable feeling in your stomach during the day, this is the effect most people notice first, and it tends to be the one that surprises them the most. Because most seniors have tried many things for bloating and have not found something this simple that actually works. Clove has what researchers call carminative properties. That is a clinical way of saying it reduces gas and bloating by relaxing the muscles of the digestive tract and helping your gut move things along more efficiently. When gas gets trapped in the digestive system and causes that bloated, tight, uncomfortable feeling, clove helps release it by calming the muscle spasms that keep it trapped. Coffee on its own already stimulates bowel motility, meaning it gets things moving. Combined with clove, the two work together to essentially clean out and calm your digestive system within the first day of consistent use. People who start adding clove to their morning coffee regularly report a lightness they had not felt in years. Less bloating after meals, less that heavy, sluggish feeling in the afternoon. Digestion that feels more like it did when they were younger. And because the effect tends to show up within the first day, it is one of the most motivating early signs that something is actually working. After 60, digestion naturally slows. The muscles of the digestive tract lose some of their tone and efficiency. Stomach acid production decreases, which makes breaking down food harder and slower. Clove directly supports both of those processes. It relaxes the gut muscles when they are cramped and spasming, causing gas, and it supports the digestive environment that keeps food moving through properly. After 60, the nerves that control gut motility also become less responsive, which is part of why constipation and bloating become so much more common as people get older. Clove has a direct effect on those nerve pathways in the digestive system, which is why the improvement in digestion can happen relatively quickly. If bloating after meals is something you deal with regularly, pay attention to how you feel in the afternoon on the days you add clove to your morning coffee. The difference tends to show up within the first day or two and becomes more consistent the more regularly you do it. Within 3 days, blood sugar starts to stabilize. This is the effect that has the most research behind it and is probably the most important one for seniors specifically. Blood sugar instability after 60 is one of the most common and damaging things happening in the body that most people are completely unaware of because it does not always feel dramatic. It just feels like low energy, afternoon crashes, and constant hunger that you cannot seem to satisfy. The compound in clove improves how your cells respond to insulin. Insulin is the hormone that is supposed to take sugar from your blood and move it into your cells to be used as energy. When your cells stop responding to insulin properly, sugar builds up in the blood, energy crashes in the afternoon, hunger spikes an hour after eating, and your body converts that excess sugar into fat. This is what researchers call insulin resistance, and it becomes increasingly common after 60. Clove contains compounds that have been shown to improve insulin receptor sensitivity. At the same time, the compounds in coffee, specifically chlorogenic acid, slow down how quickly glucose is absorbed from your gut into the blood after a meal. Together, they address blood sugar from 2 different angles simultaneously. Less glucose rushing in at once, and better cellular response to the insulin that handles what does come in. Within 3 days of consistent use, many people notice they are not getting that sharp hunger an hour after eating. Their energy in the afternoon is more stable. The blood sugar roller coaster that exhausts so many seniors starts to smooth out. And when blood sugar is stable, your mood is more even, your cravings are lower, and your body is not constantly signaling that it needs more fuel even when you have already eaten. After 60, blood sugar regulation naturally becomes less precise. The pancreas produces insulin less efficiently, and cells become more resistant to its signal over time. Medications can help, but they address the symptom, not the underlying cellular response. Clove, combined with coffee, works directly at the cellular level to improve how your body handles the glucose it receives from food. That is a fundamentally different approach, and one that compounds in benefit the longer you do it consistently. There is also a practical implication here that most people do not think about. When your blood sugar is unstable, your body craves simple carbohydrates and sugar to try to bring it back up after a crash. That craving cycle is one of the main reasons seniors find themselves snacking on things they do not want to be eating. When the blood sugar stabilizes, the cravings reduce on their own because your body is no longer desperately signaling for a quick fuel source. People find they naturally eat less and make better choices without any additional effort. If you have been told your blood sugar is on the higher end of normal, or if you simply feel the energy crashes and cravings that come with unstable blood sugar, give this 3 days and pay attention to how steady your energy feels throughout the day. Within 1 week, joint pain and inflammation start to ease. This is the one that surprises people the most, because they do not expect a change in their coffee routine to affect their knees or their fingers. But the research on eugenol and inflammation is some of the most impressive available for any single natural compound. Eugenol, the active compound in clove, is a natural anti-inflammatory. Studies have compared its anti-inflammatory action to ibuprofen and found it works through similar pathways, blocking the same chemical signals in the body that cause inflammation to build and persist. The difference is that eugenol does this without the stomach irritation and kidney stress that come with regular anti-inflammatory medication use. For seniors who rely on ibuprofen or similar medications for daily joint pain, that is a significant difference. When you drink clove in your coffee every morning, you are giving your body a daily dose of this anti-inflammatory compound, combined with coffee's own antioxidants, which reduce oxidative stress, one of the main drivers of chronic inflammation. Together, they create a consistent daily reduction in the inflammatory load your body is carrying. It is not a dramatic single event. It is a slow and steady lowering of the inflammation baseline that your body has been operating at. After 60, inflammation tends to be persistent and low-grade. It does not always feel like a dramatic flare. It shows up as that stiffness when you first get out of bed in the morning, the aching in your knees after sitting for a while, the fingers that feel tight and swollen first thing in the morning. That is chronic inflammation doing its quiet damage day after day. And because it comes on gradually over years, most seniors accept it as just what aging feels like. Within a week of consistent daily use, you may start noticing that morning stiffness easing a little sooner, that your knees feel a little less resistant when you first stand up, that the aching that you have accepted as just part of getting older is actually responsive to what you eat and drink every morning. That realization alone changes how people think about what they have control over when it comes to how they feel every day. Most of what we accept as inevitable aging is actually inflammation. And inflammation is something we can influence every single morning. One important note here: if you are currently taking blood thinners or high-dose aspirin, speak with your doctor before starting this. Eugenol has a mild blood thinning effect, which is generally safe, but worth discussing if you are already on medication that affects clotting. Within 1 month, your liver works better and your skin gets clearer. This one is less obvious and harder to feel directly, but the research behind it is well established and the downstream effects are significant for how your body feels and functions every day. Regular coffee consumption is associated with lower rates of fatty liver disease and liver fibrosis. The antioxidants in coffee reduce oxidative stress in liver cells and help maintain the liver's ability to filter toxins from the blood. Eugenol from clove compounds this effect by specifically reducing oxidative damage in liver tissue and supporting the liver's natural detoxification processes. The two together give your liver more daily protection than either provides on its own. Your liver is responsible for filtering everything that enters your bloodstream. When it is working efficiently, your body clears waste products, processes hormones, and eliminates toxins at the rate it is supposed to. When it is under stress from oxidative damage and inflammation, those processes slow down. Waste builds up, hormones become unbalanced, and one of the places that shows up is your skin. After 60, the liver processes things more slowly than it did in younger years. It is not failing, it is just less efficient. Supporting it daily with compounds that reduce its inflammatory load and protect its cells from oxidative damage is one of the most meaningful things you can do for your overall health. And because you are already making coffee every morning, the barrier to doing this is essentially zero. People who have been doing this consistently for a month often report that their skin looks clearer, that they feel lighter in a way they cannot entirely explain. Their energy is more consistent throughout the day, not just in the morning. Blood work at their regular checkups sometimes shows improvements in liver enzyme levels that their doctor notes with curiosity. Your liver does not give you dramatic signals when it is struggling, but it gives you equally quiet signals when it is working well. More energy, clearer skin, and a general sense of things functioning the way they are supposed to are all signs of a liver that is getting the support it needs to do its job properly. Within 3 months, energy, weight, and brain fog all improve. At 3 months of consistent daily use, the effects that have been quietly building start to show up in more obvious ways. This is where people look back and realize how much has shifted since they started. And they often struggle to believe that something this simple made this much difference. The blood sugar stabilization that started in the first 3 days has now had 3 months to work. Your insulin sensitivity is better. Your cells are absorbing glucose more efficiently. That means your body is converting food into energy the way it is supposed to, rather than storing the overflow as fat around your midsection. People report that weight starts to come off without dramatic changes to diet. Not because clove is a weight loss ingredient, but because stable blood sugar removes one of the main reasons the body holds onto excess fat. When insulin is working properly, your body has less reason to store and more reason to burn. The reduction in chronic inflammation that started in the first week has now had 3 months to reduce the inflammatory load on your brain. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of brain fog, memory difficulties, and the kind of cognitive slowness that many seniors attribute to aging, but is actually driven by what is happening in their bloodstream every day. Inflammation in the body creates inflammation in the brain. When that inflammation consistently lowers, your brain is working in a cleaner environment, Thinking feels clearer, memory feels sharper. The fog that used to settle in the morning and not lift until noon starts to lift earlier or not settle at all. The liver improvements from the past month mean your body is clearing waste and processing hormones more efficiently. That shows up as more consistent energy throughout the day, better mood, stability, and a general sense of things working better that is hard to attribute to any single cause, but is the result of multiple systems running more smoothly at the same time. At 3 months, this is no longer just a morning habit. It is a shift in how your body is operating at a baseline level. And it started with one clove that cost less than a dime dropped into the coffee you were already making every day. That is the part that stays with people. Not the complexity of it, but the simplicity. One small change done consistently every morning that compounds quietly over weeks into something genuinely meaningful. The method matters here. Use one whole clove. Crush it slightly with a knife. Drop it into your coffee grounds before brewing or into your cup before adding hot water. Let it steep for at least 3 minutes before drinking. Do not add sugar or sweetened creamer, as these cancel out a significant portion of the antioxidant benefit. If you need something in your coffee, try a small splash of coconut oil or a pinch of cinnamon instead. 1 clove per day is enough. The compounds are potent and a single clove gives you the full effect without overdoing it. Now we want to hear from you. Have you tried adding clove to your coffee before? Or are you going to try it tomorrow morning after watching this? Tell us in the comments below. We read every single one. And if this is something you are going to try, tell us how it goes. Your experience might be exactly what someone else in this community needs to hear to give it a try themselves. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe so you never miss what we cover next. Thanks for watching.